She'll call you back.
I know. Why hang up?
Because
Very
he
good.
figured it out.
All right.
Or the-
He probably figured, he'll see that we figured it out. I think we're like right on time too. Yep, we are, 7 o'clock. All right, I'm going to call this meeting to order, 7 PM, September 18th. Pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So attendance and appointment of alternates. Since we don't have any alternates, that's not going to happen, and we get everybody here, so that's good. Approval of agenda.
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Is there a second? Oh,
Second.
okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Approval of minutes.
I move to approve the minutes of regular meeting August 21st, 2019.
Is there a second? Any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye. I need to abstain.
Okey-doke. All right, public participation. Anybody? Sure.
Hi, Maureen Farmer, 247 South Water Street. I actually wanted to come here tonight because you're up for elections or not elections or whatever, so some of you may be changing and moving and whatnot. And I have the great honor of serving on this board for many, many years. And I know the one thing that you never hear is thank you. And that what you do is very much underappreciated. This particular board has to deal with the business aspect of the functioning of a town, which in itself is a business. And I think a lot of times you guys get stuck in the quagmire of everybody thinking that you're a partisan in this group and that group, and you have to deal with all of it and try to make the best decisions that you can. And I know that you donate a tremendous amount of time, put in a lot of effort, and never really get the appreciation you deserve. So I wanted to come and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. All right, so on to communications. I have nothing. All right, well, that was easy. Monthly reports, FY 18-19 financial reports.
Start on 8A1. And those are the revenues. The revenues were short by budget by $590,000, but this includes the $1.3 million of additional appropriations we did. So if not for that, we would probably have been in okay shape. There was a shortfall in tax revenue. We talked about it a lot. It was an assessment problem. Things that were assessed that shouldn't have been assessed, should have been exemptions. So that, as you can see in the tax collector report on 882, shows current tax revenue being short $461,000 and refunds of $253,000. So that was somebody paid and then we had to give it back to them when the exemption was put through. So those were offset by excesses in prior year and motor vehicle sub and interest and liens. But overall, that department still is $200,000 short. Helped saved by other people, state of Connecticut, we got $490,000 extra pilot. ECS, we ended up with $128,000 extra money. Treasurer's interest was $239,000 above budget. And I think those are the only noteworthy revenue items that we're discussing. Anybody have any questions on those?
This is final now?
Yes. And
I
you'll see
assume-
that in a minute in my transfers.
Okay, all right, okay.
We'll see it.
Yeah, that's right. Yes. that'll-
So on 8A5 starts the expenditures. Anything in the balance with the brackets around it is overspent. No department overall is overspent. either in their salary section or their other section. But in some cases, salaries had to be spent more in one place than another. So there's some savings in some lines and then maybe over expenditures in others. So you'll see some of those in our transfers, but overall, everybody did well. Our big savings were mostly in insurance and health benefits. Well, technically, this one's not quite final because 3 of the items have transfers in there that are not in here yet because they're not approved yet. But health and life insurance has a $278,000 savings. FICA and Medicare had 44, and that's basically from the salary savings that you'll see. OPEB has 56, but you'll see I'm doing a transfer of 55 to the OPEB fund. And then heart and hypertension, I'm doing a transfer to the heart and hypertension fund. So workers' comp and LAP are the only other 2 places that have some savings. The total in the insurance and benefits is $587,000. Does anybody have any questions on the expenditures? And then you just, for your information, have CNR what's out there waiting for some future period to spend. And that are those are last year's financial reports. Everybody good with last year? Good. This year, in taxes, you'll see a couple different reports. There's a July report, 8A, 8B1, 8B2, and 8B3 are July's. 8B4, 5, and 6 are August. So there's probably a better one to look at because that has overall what we've collected so far. So on a budget of 32, we've collected 17.7, so we have $14 million to collect. With the bulk of that being January's due payments due.
Do you anticipate any challenges in getting all of that 14 in?
The tax collector was a little concerned that we pushed up some of her numbers. She didn't like that we didn't let her go down as far as she wanted to go down on rider or interest and liens, and that the motor vehicle, instead of going down like she wanted to, you guys actually went up. So she was concerned about what we did to her budget.
We talked about that long and hard though.
We did.
When we compared.
And I did tell her that if she wanted to go back and look, and listen to the meetings that was discussed thoroughly and reasons for why the changes were made were sound financial decisions, so, but.
Yep.
Revenues, no surprises. ECS, we don't get that until the first 25% doesn't come in until October. Treasury, I'm doing very well in interest already. We upped it from, I think, 50 to 150, and we're already at 53. We appropriated $500,000 in fund balance, which we actually don't do an entry for, even if we're short. It just flows through fund balance. I don't think we have anything significant that nobody's expecting. Nobody's expecting to be gangbusters over, but nobody's expecting to be really short. Does anybody have any specific revenue questions?
This time.
Expenditures. No surprises, no transfers needed yet. I don't think I have any 20 transfers on here, do I?
No.
No. I do know of one, now that I finished 1819, there will be one. We will have to give the tax collector $365 in a longevity line, which she did not currently have a longevity line, but the person that works in there now is entitled to it, and actually got paid it in June. So there's a transfer in your 18-19 transfers for it, and I'll have to come back next month with a transfer for 19-20.
Why wasn't it?
It won't get paid until June.
Why wasn't it in the budget?
I think probably staffing changes, I don't know, I wasn't here, and I don't know where people moved from, came from, switched around. There's a lot of movement within staff when something opens. People pretty much are free game for any position within their own union that opens up, which we may see more of that. One of our people that we replaced in the spring got promoted into the supervisor union, so now there's another clerical position opening in the land use office. So there'll be people that have an interest in that. I don't know if anybody has any specific questions. I have not been brought forward with anybody having an issue or concern, or they're not going to have enough money. And that is the 1920 financials.
Any questions, anybody? It's pretty straightforward. Alrighty, we're gonna move on to transfer requests.
So I had 4 transfer requests. One is to make all the balances whole in the general fund. So that's within departments, but between lines. We'll go through them in a minute. They start on 8C2. And then the next 3 are all moving leftover funds in the general fund budget to other funds. So the first one is $190,000 of moving in between. So if we look, in the selectmen's, he was overspent in professional fees and supplies and equipment, but he had savings in education dues, postage, central office, and printer toner. And I'll tell you, this is just a math thing. I take all the overages, and then I take the biggest balances with surpluses until I can cover the deficit in any department. So there's not a preference on why I picked education and dues or postage. I picked whatever had the biggest numbers, because that's that many less transfers I have to do if I can cover them in less lines. So, but you will see both tax collector, planner, social services have, and police have salary swaps. So they have 2 sections. So in the town planner, which is the 4th one down, or tax collector, the 3rd one down, I had to move from salary full-time $365 to cover the longevity shortage of $365. And then in town planner, our full-time had money left over because we had vacancies in the planner position in the fall and the assistant planner position, and the clerical position in February, and then in the assistant planner position in June. So they have had 3 changeovers in that one department in this 1 year. So social services, it was a swap to move money out of part-time up to salary full-time. These salaries in this budget that you guys saw as the numbers for expenditures include the accrual for all the contracts that are not negotiated. So we have a liability tied to last year for non-negotiated contracts. They are in these numbers. My best guess of them is in these numbers. Police, there was a lot of changes, a lot of savings in officer salary, but then dispatcher was over, overtime was over, and they had already done a $90,000 transfer to those lines before, and longevity was still over even though they had done a transfer for that, and training salary was over. But overall, they netted to nothing. So there was no additional money needed. But we cannot spend operating money to cover salaries or salaries money to cover operating, so each section has to be done separately. So those are all the places that we had to do. As I said, nobody was overspent. So that's the first transfer for $190,000.
So, do I hear a motion for transfer number 29?
I'll move we approve transfer request number 29 at the request of the treasurer of $190,391.15 to cover the shortfalls of the departments.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
I will move we approve transfer request number 30, insurance and pension for $33,945.17 from heart and hypertension to the heart and hypertension fund.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
I move we approve transfer request number 31 for Public Works in the amount of $15,560.01.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I will move we approve transfer request number 32, insurance and pension amount of $55,000 to the OPEB fund.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. So those expenditure reports will change a little bit for those, for about spending those lines.
Alrighty, on to number 9, Board of Selectmen updates and referrals. Bob's not here, so I will take this one. Consideration and possible approval of a supplementary appropriation in the amount of $232,000 for the Warehouse Point Fire District, and if the Warehouse Point Fire District signs a memo of understanding by November 1st, 2019, stating that $232,000 will be used to reduce their FY 2021 budgeted mill rate. Make the $232,000 available to the Warehouse Point District in June 2020 as approved by the Board of Selectmen on September 5th, 2015.
19.
So this is what we were supposed to discuss last time, but they passed it 2 or 3 times, but the wrong way. It was written wrong. The treasurer actually caught it the second to last time. Had it been passed the way that Bob had made the motion, it would have, had it passed through us, they still would not have gotten the money because it said July 1st. Amy caught it and changed it to the correct date. So
My
that-
general fund appropriations expire on June 30th.
So nothing would
So
have
if you
happened.
did an disappropriation and then didn't spend it until July, it would be gone by the time July got there. So it's really just a technical thing, but I didn't want to let you guys pass something that could never physically happen.
Right.
I'll move we have a discussion on the Warehouse Point appropriation of $232,000.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor for discussion?
Aye.
Okay. Opposed? Motion passes. Okay. So who wants to start?
I'll start.
Okay.
I've been in favor of funding both fire districts in East Windsor. I'm aware that there is work to be done within the 2 districts to somehow consolidate the efforts and payroll in the best interest of the town. I am not in favor of this supplemental appropriation. The funding requests were made multiple times during the budget process, and the budget didn't pass. To go outside the scope of the budgeting process and fund the Warehouse Point Fire District despite the budget fail is not aligned with the current process that the town follows. There's a business case for many items in the budget that did not pass. The school funding is a great example. Cuts were made in many areas within the school budgets in order to balance what the voters approved. But the budget was put out to vote 3 times and failed. We all have to live with that until the next budget. I think that we have a process and we followed it, and to be asking now is not appropriate, in my opinion.
I believe it's incorrect in the fact that we're trying to prepay for next year. I mean, the school has tried to prepay some things in the past, and we haven't allowed that. And I think that's a violation of policy or procedure or something as well. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, am I correct?
No, you're very
Yeah,
correct.
you cannot use money in the prior year to pay for things for next year.
One of the things that was not good at the Board of Selectmen meeting was the fact that when it was brought up that it was a prepayment, and that actually that prepayment, I was not the chairman at that time, but the prepayment with the Board of Ed went as far as the state, went as far as legal action and all of that. When that was brought up at the Board of Selectmen meeting, that Mr. Maynard said, well, you know, I don't know why we're trying to create such a fuss. The treasurer is 100% behind this. And she had already told him that the prepayment couldn't be done. And actually, that's how Mr. Hoffman changed his mind. He said, don't you think we should go to Amy and make sure that this prepayment that's been brought up is good or bad? And he said, no, Amy's 100% behind it. What she was 100% behind was her rewording of the motion, not 100% behind this. She had already stated clearly that we cannot do a prepayment for next year's expenditure. So yes, you are 100% correct. So, anybody else?
Sure. To me, this is not by any means a solution at all for this situation. It is simply a one-time temporary fix. However, I desperately want to help and find a positive solution for this situation to alleviate some of the unfair tax burden on the residents of the Warehouse Point side of town. While out talking to residents of Warehouse Point, it pains me to see the double taxation. A lot of people in this state are already struggling and they need some relief. And I think come November, this town needs to elect strong leadership that will work together to actually find a solution and not keep going round and round and leaving us where we are here.
Well, I think that's it. Pretty much, that's what the Board of Selectmen does, though. Passes it on to us and makes us look like the bad guys. But, anybody else?
Yes. I'm very pleased with us right now. I thought, my God, what are we going to go through and set precedences all over the place? It's not wisdom. I can't get over this. I thought I was going to put in a big fight tonight. Thank you so much. I don't have to. I'm not for this. There's no Band-Aids, there's anything like that for this town. God help us, we're in trouble. Thank you so much that we're not going to pass this. Thank you.
Anybody else?
I have to say that I agree with things that have already been said and have been said very well. And I agree, we shouldn't go beyond what the budget process is. It is what it is, and we have to just move forward.
I mean, I hate to say it, but we're not as far away from the budget process. I think we
You
are.
know, scary as that is.
I mean, the discussions, I mean, how to, fund some of this to put in the budget for next year needs to start happening now the proper way.
Right.
And not wait until March or April like it happened last year and get dumped in our lap.
Yeah, no, there has to be a solution, it has to be found, but this is not it. And I don't know, the board, Bob's reign has always tried to put a Band-Aid on this instead of finding the solution, and there has to be one and it has to be found. So, I agree. So, great. So, we discussed that.
Ask for a motion.
Do we have a motion? I do not think we do. All right, no motion was made, so we will not put this through. Board of Education updates and referrals, they are not here. One thing I would like to do, Amy, now that I know my email's working again, let's put out an email to have them come see us, because I really want an update on the cafeteria.
I think the email from Kathy, there's an email from Kathy saying she'll be here next month.
Okay.
That she couldn't be here
That
this
she was
month,
away
but
or
she'll be here
something.
next month.
I didn't get, I'm not getting anything still, so I better talk to Joe.
Or I'll forward you
Okay.
the email I got.
Because, yeah, I better talk to Joe, because like I went in tonight and I had like nothing in there.
Okay.
So, yeah, we really need an update on the cafeteria, because we can't take care of it again next year, so they need to put a plan forward for us to solve their cafeteria.
They were supposed to have a study, and I thought it was coming back to us, but I haven't seen anything.
I haven't seen it. And Sarah Lee asked, because she went to their last board meeting, and they didn't, somebody asked about it and said that it's going to be done in executive session, so we need to know what's going on with that. No new business at this time. Unfinished business, budget overruns and added appropriation policy review and update.
So we kind of talked about this quite a few months ago. We have 2 policies done 3 years apart that kind of overlap. But neither one, it wasn't like one replaced the other.
Yep.
So we really could take A and B together. Especially if you're going to come up with just a policy.
Right.
I mean, supplemental appropriations come out of the charter. You know that language there?
Yep. Yep, section 8.6, line B, supplementary appropriation. Upon request of any office, board, commission, or similar body, that additional funds in excess of what have been provided in the approval annual budget, or if funds are required for which no provision was made in the budget, the Board of Finance, after inquiry into and review of the request, may approve one or more appropriations not to exceed $20,000. And then it goes on to explain that it would go to town meeting if we approve one over $20,000. So it is discussed in the charter. At this point in time, I don't know all the gobbledygook that it turned into. So now, Amy, you had a preference, though.
Well, I kind of like the old one.
Yeah, the 2011.
Well, because I don't know that we need the line item transfers. I mean, this is how I do it. You've got your salary parts and you've got your operating parts. You tell me you're going to be over in office supplies, I say, so where are you saving it from? I want you to charge it where it really belongs, because I don't want you charging school and office supplies, because I really want your expenses to be what they really are. So my response back to any department head is, what lines are you saving to cover that? You're going to be over, where are you covering it from? So, and I think that's enough of good control. They're made aware that they need to cover it, and in most cases, we haven't had significant increases. We did have that travel one for a little tiny department. It's harder for the tiny departments because they don't have very many lines and they don't have very much money. So it's harder for them than it is for a bigger department. A bigger department has more places to draw from. But, and if they know they're going to be over, I ask them to come talk to me about it so I can talk to you guys about it. I mean, there are cases truly where somebody needs something that they didn't know they needed when we're doing this budget 18 months ahead of time. These budgets are done a long time before June of the year they end in. We're starting now in capital. Capital requests have already been put in. Our first capital meeting is September 30th for the capital group. So we're starting now for something that will go through January or June of 2021. So it's a long time out for people to guess, but I don't think it needs to be very formal. I think discussions, everybody sees their reports, changing the munis, which will be effective 7/1 of 20. We'll give them access at any day and time they want to see them. Some only have part access now because we pay by the user. So some people just get printed reports. Once a month, when we finish the month, they get a report what their department looks like. Other people have online access and can run the report at any time. But we have to limit the number of users, but that will not be a restriction. That will be in munis. Anybody can look at anything at any time.
When does that go online?
7/1. I'm already living in the creation of it now, with 4 days this week of 8:30 to 4:30.
So much fun.
It's going to be a huge project.
But you're excited.
I was here till 2:30 on Friday last week because I spent all day on munis and then had to do your packages. Hence why they weren't available before 12 o'clock. I think you probably all got your emails somewhere after 2 saying, oh, there's packages here, because that's when I finished them.
But you're excited. This is your dream.
It's a ton of work. But I think the town will be better for it.
Yeah.
I think the financial records will be stronger, the controls will be stronger. So I do think there's a lot of pluses, and I love the fact that it will be town and Board of Ed together. That will create a lot less duplication of effort. They book the entries, and then we book them in summary on our side now to be able to produce our audit. So them doing it just once. So now when they do a transfer and they don't tell us, we become off right now.
But you're gonna be able to
going
just-
forward, they'll be doing their transfers right in munis, so when I spit out their munis number, it will always be their munis number because there won't be a second set of books somewhere that have what the number is. that would be a big plus for our side in my department. So I'll have to let you paint again.
All right, so does anybody have a problem with adopting the May 19th, 2011 policy?
Can I just make a comment?
Sure, absolutely.
I know that I asked this last meeting, but I just want clarification again, that us altering this at all with the proposed charter questions, in the language that's proposed, if that were to pass, that won't be affecting anything that's going forward in a different way. I just want to,
I don't think so.
okay. Just want to have our checks and balances still in place as long as we can.
So are we all good with that?
Yes, we need to
All right.
make a motion on this, or we just,
Yeah, just adopt this
Just
one
adopt the-
or reaffirm this one
Yep.
and trash the 2014 one.
Oh, we're not gonna say it that way. Somebody did work hard on that one. Go ahead.
how about we adopt the budget overrun policy from May 19th, 2011, and disregard the May 2014 policy that was on the record.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Awesome. All right, on to board member comments.
I know the East Windsor High School Safe Grad is holding an event this Saturday night, Designer Purse Bingo, 7 o'clock at St. Bernard School. And then on Sunday, September 29th, from 11 to 3, it's the Panthers Take Back JV Sports fundraising event. And I know they're doing really well, almost close to reaching their goal.
Are they really?
Yeah,
That's good.
really close.
And that's at Scout Hall.
Kath?
Yeah, not too comfortable with this.
Well, that's usually not good.
People come to our home and talk of special ed. From the money going out and the severely handicapped children that will not go on to have children, etc., and the money put into them. I've had many people come and talk to Dick and I, and I don't know how to quite answer them.
Your best
Because
bet, your answer would be to send them to talk to the superintendent. I mean, it's the best answer. She can explain everything to them, and if they have any questions, she can take any of their questions, and that's the best thing to do. You just send them to the right person so they get the correct answers, because I think too many people are misinformed and need the right information.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you. Good luck.
I just want to mention to our departments that did a great job of staying within their budgets, and we didn't really have a lot of massive deficiencies in departments this year again, and I think they just need to be recognized for that.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Definitely. Karen?
Nothing?
Barb?
Nothing to add, thanks.
All right. All right, that was a pretty quick one this month. That was pretty good. So if we could have a motion to adjourn. Really?
To adjourn.
I like that.
Second, Karen. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Have a good month. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Quicker than it seems every day.